Morning, everybody. It's Mr. Taylor. Today is Wednesday, May the 6th. And as we're going through and talking this week a little bit about the worlds of North and South, you had the PowerPoint and some questions looking at Southern society and how slavery was increasing and people who were living in the South. But I wanted to take a minute today and just kind of look at the plant it is that this whole unit and really the United States was revolving around in this time period in the middle of the 1800s. And this is cotton. And this is from a cotton plant that I had grown in the classroom last year. And you can see that it looks a lot like a cotton ball, like a cosmetic cotton ball. But it's dirty. It's got all these little pieces of plant fiber in it, of the stems and the leaf that was there as part of the flower, and the husk that was around this. And then inside this, there's a whole bunch of seeds. And the thing with cotton is that this one little cotton ball, is grown in huge fields, as you can kind of see on the PowerPoint that you have to work on. And in these huge fields, you would go along and you would have to pick these individual balls, heads of cotton off of each of these plants. Each plant might have 4 or 5 heads of cotton on it. They're 3 feet tall maybe, and you go along and you pick off each of these. And it weighs basically nothing. So imagine how much cotton you would have to be picking in order to come up with a marketable crop, a usable crop. And how many of these it's going to take in order to make cotton cloth that could be turned into clothing, shirts, blankets, pants, whatever. Now the other catch with cotton is that deep inside each of these little balls of cotton, there are seeds. And each of these seeds is sort of glued in there. Zoom in here. Can we zoom in on the seed? So this little tiny seed, there's half a dozen of those seeds. You can feel them. Not that you can feel in here, but you can feel in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the one I pulled out. So as a farmer, I need these seeds so that I can put them back in the ground and I can plant next season's crop. As a manufacturer, I need this cotton cleaned from this mess with the sticks and the leaves and the seeds in it. I need this cleaned so that I wind up with just cotton, pure fluff cotton, in order to send this to a manufacturer in the industrial north. So remember those textile mills that we were talking about earlier on in the Life in the North? The textile mills that are taking this cotton and spinning this cotton fiber into thread in order to make this into cloth. So what was happening is that literally you would have slaves that would pick the cotton out of the fields, and then they would have to come and they would have to pull apart this cotton and take the fluff out of the stems and out of the seeds. And once they separated all this out by hand, then it could be packaged up and it could be sent off to a spinning mill and turned into something. Hugely labor-intensive process. You had to have lots of people sitting and picking all of this cotton by hand in order to clean it. Because if it's not clean, you're not going to get good price for it. The mills and the factories didn't want to use it. So enter into that the idea of this machine called a cotton gin. And the cotton gin was simple. It was a series of brushes that you dump a pile of cotton into, and the brushes pulled against each other, and it pulled the fibers off and left the fibers on one side, and it left all of the detritus, all the stuff in the waste heap. And one person can crank this machine, and while they're cranking the machine, other people can be filling it, which is going to free up a lot of your labor in order to do more work. cotton now becomes more profitable to manufacture, to grow, because now I can grow and I can process a huge amount of it using much less manpower. That means that the rest of my manpower, my slaves, can be producing more cotton. They can be growing more cotton. They can be farming more land. So I can expand my operation because I have this fairly simple machine. This is the idea behind the Industrial Revolution, the idea that machines are doing the work of many hands, many manual labors, in order to increase the productivity of those people, so that I can make more money as the farmer or the factory owner. So what we're going to see now is cotton becomes more valuable. As cotton becomes more valuable, people want to plant more of it. When they want to plant more of it, they need to have more slaves in order to farm the larger pieces of land that they want. They start looking westward to find more land, moving into new places in Alabama and Mississippi, western Georgia, and then eventually into Louisiana, Missouri, and pushing out all the way into Texas. So we talked a little bit about that westward expansion. It's driven by cotton. It's driven by the need to find more land to grow this little tiny wispy flower. And as cotton production is increasing along with the demand for cotton from the factories in the north, so factories are increasing their size in order to meet the demand of the consumers, us, the people that are buying things. Who's going to go and work in these factories? It's going to be women, it's going to be children, and it's going to be immigrants, people that are moving to the United States from other countries looking for a new start, looking for a better life in some respect, and they come here and they settle in the cities in places like New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore. These become industrial centers where you have large factories being created. They're paying very low wages. The work is very dangerous. A lot of machines doing work that used to be done by hand, but it's a job. It's a steady, guaranteed job. As long as you show up for work and you do your job, you get paid for it. So there was a sense of completion, a sense that people were going to get paid, they can save up their money, they can live that better life, they can have that American dream, and then maybe they can save up enough money, they can pack up and they can move west and start over, in Oregon as farmers, or out on the plains as farmers. So all of these ideas are all tied together of the Industrial Revolution, westward expansion, slavery in the South, immigration in the North, and it all comes back to this fluffy little flower, cotton. So if we were back in class, we would have planted some cotton in the grow lab in the classroom. It would flower. It has a beautiful pink flower or a white flower depending on the season. You would possibly be able to have taken some of those home with you. In the past, I've had students take them home and then grow their own. So from this tiny seed, grow our own cotton plants, so that you could see just what was involved in making this happen. But this was the plant that was driving America forward, and as it's driving us forward, the tension over slavery and over whether or not slavery is acceptable, whether it's a necessary evil that farmers needed, or whether it was something that they relied on that they could do without. Human rights issues start to come in, racism is in play, and eventually this is drawing the country further and further apart, and leading us towards what we're going to call the Civil War. So, in a nutshell, that is cotton. I wanted to show you that today. If you have questions about the assignments that you need to be working on this week, make sure that you email me or you put private messages in on your assignments, and I'll help you out as best as I can. It's still not raining, so get outside if you get a chance today. I think today is make a TikTok or a video of you reading something Wednesday. Remember to share those pictures and things for our virtual Spirit Week. As always, stay safe, wash your hands, cover your face, get your work done. It's the end of the 5 weeks, and we will continue with our social distancing studies tomorrow. All right, Mr. Taylor, have a great afternoon.